Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anna Marie. Today I'm going to be talking about traveling abroad with type 1 diabetes. So this summer I had the chance to go to Greece for 2 months and live. And at first when I heard about this opportunity of going to a different country, I was very excited, but of course I had those nervous, stressors in the back of my mind that I was thinking about right away was how am I going to manage my type 1 diabetes abroad in a country that I've never been to before that speaks a completely different language. And so here are some of my tips that I have for people who are, living abroad, maybe studying abroad, or even just going to a different country for a couple of weeks, months, or whatever for a vacation, because it really is manageable, but I think at first can be very scary if you do not prepare. So my first tip would be to create a checklist months before you are going on the trip abroad, because this can give you time to think about what you really do need to have when you're going over there, and just to make sure that you do not forget anything, because dealing with like doctors and pharmacies overseas can be very obnoxious and very hard, because you have to have, just in communication with doctors from your doctor at home to the country, it just gets really messy. So having everything when you go abroad, the minute you step on the plane, you have everything with you. It really goes smoothly if you plan ahead, so that's a huge part of it. And my checklist before I went to Greece, I had everything from the amount of insulin that I was going to need. I have an insulin pump, so I had to make sure that I had enough supplies for my insulin pump for 2 months worth. What else? Let's see. I also had to I had like my doctor write up a note explaining that I did have type 1 diabetes, and just in case anything happened, I could give that to someone who spoke English. But nothing did happen, so I did not need that, but I had that just in case. So on my checklist, I had things like lotion, and I had like the medicated socks that I wear, just to really keep my body in the best condition, because I was doing a lot of walking, and so I made sure that I had, protection for my feet. So then after I made this checklist, I made sure to get all of the supplies that I already had, to put it, I put it in a little area like a month before to make sure this is what I have. And then I went to my endocrinologist appointment about a month before I went to Greece, and I told them, I'm going to Greece. Can you call in the pharmacy and get everything that I needed? So they did that, and make sure to do this a couple weeks to a month in advance, because my insurance was being very picky on what they were giving me, because they were like, why do you need all of this supplies? That's a lot to be ordering. And then so they just had to know, my insurance company just wanted to know why I was ordering all this all of a sudden. So I told them I was going abroad for 2 months, and after that I got everything that I needed, which was really nice. I even ordered a way more than I expected to be using. I had boxes and boxes of insulin vials, a lot of insulin pumps. I didn't use all of them abroad, but it was nice to have, a ton of extras when I came back, just to know, if I decide to go back next year or another time, then I know kind of the amount of supplies that I need to be bringing over. But it is definitely nice to have more supplies than you need, because you don't want to run into the complications of having less. I really did not have any issues with flying from America to abroad. I first stopped in Europe and Germany, and I really didn't have too many complications, except for one of the security guards had asked me, what I was carrying in the lunch bag that I had. And in this lunch bag I had an ice pack, and then I had all of my insulin. I did not pack my insulin that was going to go under the plane, because I've had issues with my bags getting lost, and so I wanted to make sure that I had all of my insulin with me, just in case something unimaginable happened to my bags, that I had my insulin, and then extra insulin pumps, because I just did not want to deal with the nightmare of that, which sure enough, my luggage did end up getting lost for 3 days. when I had arrived in Greece. So luckily I had all of my supplies that I needed. But yeah, going through security was pretty much a breeze. I just had to tell them that I was carrying insulin, and they really didn't question it. I think because, I mean, I had the boxes with like my name on it, and you know, like the that the pharmacies put on. So really I had no issues with traveling with insulin and everything. I was really happy with that. You know, sometimes dealing with airport security can be a nightmare, but I really had no issues. So once I got to Greece, I did not know what to expect food-wise because I had never been out of the country before. And so I was actually very surprised when I had the meals in Greece because they were fantastic for my blood sugars. I eat fairly healthy back in the US, but in Greece there is no high fructose corn syrup or preservatives put into their food, which I was absolutely loving because everything was fresh, you know, homemade, local, grown, a lot of seafood obviously, and a lot of fruits and vegetables, even just at restaurants. So there was no fast food that I had on the trip. So I really had really good blood sugars, which I was just so amazed by. I would wake up at a perfect blood sugar in the morning, and then I would have breakfast like Greek yogurt and a fruit or something, and then for lunch I would have usually like a baked chicken and vegetables, and then for dinner I would have a huge meal, but most of it, the dinner was like the really huge meal that I had, but even then a lot of it was carb free. I mean, I would have like the rice and the bread, and then really like to like give you like these French fries. In America they would be called, but they were just like fried potatoes pretty much at every meal, but there would always be like a meat and a vegetable, which I mean I was just loving. And my blood sugars, even at night, I usually run pretty high normally, but at night my blood sugars would be perfect as well. So I was very impressed by the food over there, and it took a lot of the stress off because I thought that like my blood sugars would be so out of range, you know, leaving the country and going somewhere new, but I had no issues whatsoever. And I actually told my doctor this, my endocrinologist, a couple weeks ago when I went to go see him, and he said he definitely hears from a lot of his patients that like the food over in Europe and Greece, all over there, that it's so much better for you, and really helps diabetics when they are traveling because they don't have to really worry about all the different, you know, issues, because they know there's really no like a lot of sugars and things thrown into it. So yeah, I mean, obviously when you go abroad in these countries, they're gonna have amazing, you know, desserts and sweets and different things like that, but I really didn't have an issue. I mean, I really like eating like sweets and desserts and ice cream and stuff, but I really did not have an issue with overeating sweets. I think, you know, they would give you, like for dessert, they would give you small portions of something sweet, or a lot of their desserts even included fruit or Greek yogurt, which I thought was awesome. So I really didn't have any issues with that. What I really liked was that I really like soda, but since I can't really drink it here in the States because it has so much, you know, high fructose corn syrup, all of the ridiculous amount of sugars, their soda had like, I think 30 grams of carbs in like their Coca-Cola, because in compared to America, I think there's like 48 grams of sugar in an American Coca-Cola. So it was a lot different, and I wouldn't have to give myself a ton of insulin if I wanted a soda, which was really nice. So that's one of the things I brought, you know, I brought back actually in my luggage, was like some of the sodas, because it was amazing how much it did not affect my blood sugars. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, I think, you know, there's just, I don't know, it's just amazing how their food and their sodas and their drinks are just so much more healthier for diabetics, and I think it was really cool. So yeah, those are my tips for traveling abroad. There really isn't much. I mean, I've had diabetes for over 7 years now, so I'm very used to like getting everything packed, making sure I have insulin on me at all times, an insulin pump on me at all times, just in case anything ever happened. So those are just really the main things. I also, in my purse, I carried this little like makeup bag, and it had insulin pumps, insulin, and then like a candy or a granola bar that I could have just in case. So I brought this everywhere with me, to the beach, to museums, on hikes, you know, shopping, things like that when I was in Greece, because just having that little safety packet of things was really nice. You know, traveling can definitely be very stressful at the beginning when you think about it, but once you get used to it, and as long as you're prepared, really there's really nothing to worry about. So those are my tips for you if you are traveling abroad. So leave a comment or message below if you have ever traveled out of the country and maybe you have a story to tell, or I don't know, maybe some other tips that you have encountered when traveling. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.